We all hope that our stamp collection or trading cards will someday be worth millions and millions of dollars. Usually they just sit in our attic collecting dust. But occasionally these collectibles sell for unbelievable riches. Today we're looking at the 10 rarest and most expensive collectibles in the world. Hunters have used decoy ducks for hundreds of years. Most of them are simple replicas of living ducks made from cheap materials. In fact, it's common for hunters to carve their own decoy ducks. But a duck from legendary Canadian decoy maker Thomas Chambers recently set a world record when it sold at auction for $270,000. Chambers, who passed away in 1948, never realised what a prize collectible he was creating. To date, he's reined in close to 7 figures from beyond the grave in duck decoy auction sales. In the same sale, a John English pintail drake sold for $246,000 and a Charles E. Shang Wheeler Canada goose sold for $198,000. In case you believe decoy ducks are not a saleable item, think again. This 2017 auction alone brought in more than $4.7 million as collectors stocked up on these one-of-a-kind wooden birds. Most people would hesitate to pay $335,000 for a single doll, but that's exactly what Carolyn and Richard Barry did in 2018 to add to their impressive collection. The rare 19th century French doll was featured at Old Dominion University's Barry Art Museum. In all, the Barrys have donated 80 dolls to the prestigious museum. Apparently, this doll is a pristine specimen from the golden age of French doll making, hence its incredible price tag. It was created by Antoine Edmond Rochard, a famed doll designer whose work is highly valued for unusual characteristics that can be found on the Barry doll, such as finely modelled faces, parted lips, lifelike glass eyes, as well as new inventions at the time, like a built-in kaleidoscope and jeweled necklace that includes microphotographs. Rochard filed a patent in 1867 from which the doll was designed. It features dozens of tiny photographs of Parisian landmarks. You might want to appraise the old furniture cluttering your basement or attic because it could be worth thousands of dollars. One antique Chippendale-style Kentucky desk sold at auction for $498,750. This makes it the most expensive piece of southern furniture ever sold at auction. The desk is clearly dated 1796 on the prospect door. It stands over 8.5 feet tall and is made entirely of walnut. It was formerly owned by Captain John Cowan, who was one of the first white settlers to live in Kentucky. Settling near Danville in 1773, he rose to frontier prominence. In 1796, as a mark of his success, he commissioned this important Chippendale desk and bookcase that remained in his family for 200 years. It's the only Kentucky-made piece of its kind that has yet been identified, and one of a mere handful of extant works from the years immediately after Kentucky became the 15th state to join the Union in 1792. In July 2017, an original movie poster for Casablanca set a world record when it sold for $478,000. But that record only lasted for a matter of months, when a collector paid $525,800 for an original Dracula poster in November of the same year. The famous 1931 movie is considered a cinema classic, and movie buffs have been trying to track down an original poster for years. There is one other known copy in existence, but it belongs to a private collector and is unlikely to hit the market anytime soon. The record breaker had belonged to the descendants of Lieutenant Colonel George J. Mitchell Jr., a cinematographer and photographer who acquired it sometime in the 1950s because he liked it and the movie. Because Mitchell was never known as a movie poster collector, his find stayed off the radar. The most expensive baseball card in the world was sold in 2016 by an anonymous seller. In fact, the legendary auctioneer Ken Golden tracked down the card specifically because he knew how lucrative its sale would be. The seller was hesitant to part with their one-of-a-kind Honus Wagner card, but Golden offered to waive some of the auction fees and even arranged a full media advertising campaign. In the end, the gamble paid off. After 17 bids, the final offer came at $3,120,000. For those who aren't familiar, Honus Wagner was one of the first great baseball players in history. He played 21 seasons in the MLB from 1897 to 1917. Though the average person has forgotten his name, collectors and baseball fans are rabid for his collectibles. Ironically, a small imperfection in the bottom corner of the card helped the auctioneers to trace and authenticate the card, thus increasing its value even further. The fingerprint in the bottom right corner increased its value by 20%, or about $624,000. The mistake, which makes the item all wrong on the assembly line, makes it very right for the collector who prides himself in owning the only one in existence, says Alice Scoville, an art history lecturer in the Learning to Look program. It's ironic that the human error long ago makes for increased value today. The 1956 film Hidden Planet was a box office smash, grossing almost $3 million. An iconic prop from the movie, a 7-foot robot named Robbie, sold for $5.3 million in 2017. The name of Robbie's buyer wasn't disclosed, but William Malone, a filmmaker, collector and Robbie's previous owner, was shocked by the sale price. "I'm astounded by the result," Malone said in a statement, but also sad to part with him. However, it's time Robbie finds a place where he can be displayed and with someone who can look after him. Of course, he will leave an empty spot in my house and in my heart. The robot originally cost $100,000 to build, so the profit was absolutely massive, even when accounting for inflation. The previous record for a movie prop belonged to Marilyn Monroe's white dress from The 7-Year Itch, which sold for $4.6 million. This one-of-a-kind necklace is spectacular for many reasons. First of all, it was originally made by legendary designer Cartier. It was designed specifically for famed actress Elizabeth Taylor, who had one of the most expensive jewelry collections on Earth. The pearl, ruby and diamond necklace features a historic 16th century pear-shaped La Peregrina pearl, bought by Richard Burton for $37,000 at an auction in 1969. The awe-inspiring pearl was first found in Panama and belonged to King Philip II of Spain before being passed on to the Spanish queens Margarita and Isabel, who wore it in portraits painted by Velázquez. Unsurprisingly, the necklace started a bidding war and eventually sold for $11,842,500 at auction. Patek Philippe is a revered brand in the world of luxury watches. This masterful manufacturer regularly sells watches for tens of thousands of dollars. But one particular watch, the Patek Philippe Henry Graves Super Complication, is renowned as the most complicated pocket watch ever made. The 18-karat gold watch has 24 complications. If you're curious what the watch can do other than tell time, it includes Westminster chimes, a perpetual calendar, sunrise and sunset times, and a celestial map of New York as seen from Graves' apartment on Fifth Avenue. In 2014, this watch set the world record for the most expensive watch ever sold at auction, when it went for $24 million. The watch broke its own record, set in 1999, when it sold for a whopping $11 million. To put this in perspective, Henry Graves spent 60,000 Swiss francs when he commissioned it in 1925. Adjusting for inflation, the sum is roughly $202,000, measured in 2021 United States dollars. You can bet there's a shoes-off policy for the owners of this antique Persian rug. The 17th century carpet sold for an unbelievable $33 million. It was expected to fetch a maximum of $10 million at auction, but an anonymous Middle Eastern buyer absolutely shattered expectations. The rug has a remarkable history and connection with the Islamic faith. It's believed that the rug came from the ancient city of Kerman and features a rare sickle leaf vine scroll pattern. Although it's only 6 feet by 8 feet, the rug is in virtually perfect condition, which led to its jaw-dropping sale price. The previous record for a carpet was only $9.6 million. In less than 20 minutes, an intense bidding war led to a single bowl being sold for $37.68 million. Of course, this wasn't just any ordinary bowl. The dishware in question was a rare 900-year-old brush-washing bowl from Song Dynasty China. The bowl only measures 5 inches wide, but its age and condition made it one of the most valuable collectibles in history. Such Ru Guanyao wares, known for their intense blue-green glaze and ice crackle pattern, are extremely rare because the kiln in China's central Henan province had a brief production run of only around 2 decades, stated a Reuters report on the sale. The previous record for Chinese pottery was $36 million for a Ming Dynasty wine cup.